Segment 3, Sunny Hirsch Election Special. And we are very much concentrating on the judiciary. We are trying very hard to bring to you as many different candidates as possible. It's really sad that a judge can affect somebody's life more than just about any other public official, be it a marriage, be it a divorce, be it custody of children, your freedom, your house. I mean, there's so many different areas. And of the few people that are registered to vote, even fewer actually vote. And then of those who vote, only 40% go to the judicial part at the bottom. 40% rather don't touch the judicial part at all. So we suggest you start with the judicial side this time around. And we're pleased to have at this point a candidate in the 8th Subcircuit. And she is a sitting judge. That's Deborah Jean Gubin. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
First of all, thank you. We're glad you were able to make it here.
Oh,
and
please.
By the way, she was actually cared enough about work to actually finish her case first. And we're running a little late today, but that's okay. We like conscientious judges. That's a good thing to be.
That's what you pay me for, so I get paid for that, and I take it seriously. I like the job. I want to keep it.
And how long have you been a judge?
I have been a judge since March 4th of 2010. I got sworn in.
And tell us about your background before you were a judge.
All right, I started out as a public defender in 1975. I did a lot of felony cases, and I left there in 1984, December 31st. And in January of 1985, I became general counsel for the Illinois Department of Financial Institutions. I was there for about a year and a half. I was in private practice then for about 20 years doing a mixture of criminal and civil litigation of different types. And then in 2005, Barry Merrim was director of the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services, and he asked me to come on board as his deputy general counsel to help with some of the class action litigation because of all my litigation experience. And then I also then switched over to be chief ALJ. So I was doing actually
What's
both.
ALJ?
Oh, I'm sorry, administrative law judge.
Oh, okay.
And I was in charge of two different divisions. One was the lawyer administrative law judges who heard cases concerning violations of Medicare, doctors who might have been overcharging or not doing proper care of patients, and whether or not they were going to be terminated for the program, as well as sometimes transportation, whether or not they were overcharging for taking people to their doctor's appointments. And then there was a second section, which were non-lawyer hearing officers who did hearings on child support and also whether or not somebody qualified for having Medicaid. That has been changed, and now all new hires have to be at least have graduated from law school, not necessarily a licensed attorney, because they were trying, and when I was there, to help make it much more professional.
No, that sounds like that would help do it. So, just out of curiosity, a person who graduated law school but is not a licensed attorney,
right?
I mean, wouldn't a person want to be a licensed attorney?
They do. There are sometimes people who have graduated law school or may have just moved to Illinois, have not yet studied to take the Illinois bar, or you might have somebody who there was a professor at Loyola Law School for years and years who would not take the loyalty oath that was once required.
Oh, I read about that.
Right. So that would be another person who could do that. Or you have somebody who might be licensed in another state, has moved to Illinois, and doesn't want to take another bar exam, so would be more than happy to do this.
Interesting. Interesting. I never even thought about that. So, okay, so let's bring things up to. So now you're a judge.
I'm assigned to the First Municipal of the Circuit Court of Cook County. So most of the time I am in the traffic division, where every day I'm in a different courtroom. And then sometimes I go into other courtrooms, such as the pro se court or the small contract cases, it's up to a certain dollar amount. And I hear those types of cases.
And I take it if you're running, you probably like it a lot.
I love the job. I really like the job a lot.
Yeah.
And I would like to be able to do more. I think right now there's not going to be a lot of changes or movement until after the election, and that does make sense. Because, you know, right now, the judiciary, in conjunction with the Illinois Judges Association, is working very hard to also make sure that judges have more training. There's a mentoring system. When I got appointed in March of 2010, I had a mentor appointed to me who I met with on a regular basis, you know, to help guide me through different types of things, and I had somebody to call.
Very nice. And, you know, you're running in the 8th Subcircuit, which,
Right.
you know, now not everybody runs in a subcircuit. Some people run county-wide. There are different subcircuits. A subcircuit basically means that you're running within a certain geographic area.
Correct.
So would you like to tell people what your geographic area is?
The 8th Judicial Subcircuit goes from generally 26th Street on the south, Peterson on the north, the east is the lake, and the west, well, when it's south at 26th Street, it follows the river till you get to about Armitage, which is 2000 north. Then it goes out to Ashland. It goes up Ashland to about Foster, 5200 north, out to Western, then up to Peterson, and then back in.
Does it go above Peterson at any point?
Yes, it does, and that's at about, there's like, I think it's like Winthrop to about, maybe it is Ashland, where it does go up to Arthur.
Yeah,
There's this one little section there.
The reason I know that is because Judge Fleming lives in that little strip, and he's in the 10th Subcircuit. So, but yeah, and by the way, you can find Jewish Chicago's out free at this point, all over the place, and you'll find tons of it in the 8th District because there's probably more corned beef served there than any other part of the city. And if they're serving corned beef, and I don't mean corned beef and cabbage, I'm talking about, you know, the Jewish stuff or the lox, you'll be able to find Jewish Chicago there.
Okay.
So anyway, I just want to let people know about that. So you've got a slightly easier job than the people who have to go county-wide.
Well, yes and no. I mean, but it's harder in that when you're talking about that, I would say at least 60% of my subcircuit is high-rises. So you can't go door to door.
Never thought about it. Yeah, no, you can't. Not at all.
It's very impossible to go door to door. Or you also have some other areas where there are townhouses, but they're gated. And so you just can't get into them as well. So in that respect, it's very difficult. How do you find people? How do they get to know who you are?
That's a very good question.
And so you try to do it by mailings. I go to various community organizations, and not just the various political ward organizations. But if somebody is more active in their neighborhood, whether it's Sheffield Neighbors or East Lakeview or South Lakeview or South Loop, they're more likely to vote.
Okay.
And so those would be the people that I'm trying to meet, because they're going to be your potential voters.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, we're starting to run. I was going to ask how many places you go to during the course of a day, but we're at this point. I'd like you to give people your web address and where
my website is www.electjudgegubin.com. That's going to list, it'll have my resume, it has my bar ratings, it has the various endorsements I have. There are some pictures there with various people, and also of my swearing in, and a little bit else about me.
And I'm sure there's contact information there also.
Absolutely, there's a contact. There is the address for the campaign. There is a phone number for the campaign. The campaign has its own phone number.
You can give it real quick if you like.
I can't remember it.
Well,
I have to look it down.
At this point,
but
I've
there is a email address, which is judgedeborahgubin@gmail.com.
I want to thank you very much, Judge Deborah Gubin. I want to thank Sonny Hirsch, our producer, our entire crew. I want to thank all of you for joining us, everybody. There'll be more election shows coming. Bye-bye.